Good afternoon. No rain yet. Another Amazon 53 footer. It's almost 3 o'clock. I am fatigued as shit. Let me explain something there came a point in my life when I was married, was looking for health insurance for both my wife and myself because I was paying, all medical out of pocket, cash money, which is the highest rate, unless you actually sit down and Jew them down and, plead poverty or something. It's hard to plead poverty when you're, it was becoming real clear that insurance companies didn't want to touch me. And the older I got, it was just ridiculous. They'd say yeah, and you pay this much for your premium and your annual and high deductible. It was just becoming where I was uninsurable. And I knew enough at that point in time in my, it's creeping into my late 30s. I went ahead and applied because I was actually having a drop. I'd actually cleared out all the cash in my trust. This was decade, 15 to more, a couple of decades before I, dissolved my trust. And I had, in the trust, I had 2 mortgages that were going into default. It was the end of the Reagan era, and Reagan made a mess of shit. Bill Clinton just rode surfed the economic wave of the boom of Silicon Valley and the digital, economic explosion. He didn't have to do anything except get fellatio from chubby girls who came to Washington to give him fellatio for no other reason. Giving fellatio to a rapist with Peyronie's disease. You really have to be a bad chronic masturbator, one-handed. He was left-handed too. I can tell you exactly which way his penis would curve. It's just like you take a strip of paper and run a scissors up one side, it'll curve towards that way. So I applied, and I knew how it goes, and I knew there would be 2 turn downs and then trial, and I was awarded permanent disability and Medicaid 33 years ago. And part of it was the post-traumatic stress disorder, and part arthritis. And they were already saying bipolar too. And I needed that insurance because I kept racking up injury after injury after injury. Because I am a risk taker. Some of you people live totally insular lives. You wouldn't get within 100 feet of the edge of a cliff, let alone go out and just sit down right on the edge of it like I've been known to do. You don't take any risks. You wouldn't ever ride a motorcycle. You would never, of course, I don't advocate anybody ride a motorcycle, but the problem is that, and I don't get it because I've spoken to doctors at length about the fact that Medicaid actually pays very well. It pays the pharmacy good money. It pays doctors good money. It's not top dollar. That's only comes from the federal, gold Cadillac insurance and shit like that. It's the only ones that are paying top dollar, and you still have to do deductibles, and co-pays and all that other shit. They're just milking the crap out of you. Whereas with Medicaid, I don't have to pay shit because my income has fluctuated up and down. During the Clinton years, oil dropped to $13 a barrel. My own brother Jerry got out of the business. He's chief of operations, chief executive, but was a driller from my brother Jerry was smart enough to get his MBA, and then he went to work on the drilling floor, learning the business from the ground up. He was one of the first people on this planet to have a captain's license for the largest vessels on this planet, which are the deep water rigs. Those big drilling rigs, turn into production platforms eventually, that are often a mile long. And he was taking them out to sea, and you have to flood the legs of them and positioning them in the days before GPS. My brother Jerry's sharp cookie. He's not as bright as me, but he did encourage my love of science and stuff like that. He's the only brother that you'll ever hear me say anything positive about. The other three can, go hump their hand. But my point is that about the oil and gas, the fluctuating income. I mean, sometimes I'm working, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm, getting contracts, sometimes I'm not. And they encourage you to, when you get disability that young, they encourage you to keep working, and they'll keep up with the Medicaid and stuff. They make it, possible for you to work without going broke through your medical expenses. It was a smart move on my part. But then when I turned 65, the fuckers threw in Medicare. And to the best of my knowledge, Medicare doesn't pay any more than Medicaid does. But Medicaid does apparently rely upon a partial contribution from the state or some shit like that. I don't get that at all. And generally when a doctor refuses Medicaid, he's just being classist. He just doesn't want to see paupers in his waiting room. It's strictly, it's you people that are on Medicare, you're getting fucked because you got all them co-pays and you got to decide every year which plan. They're running you to the same fucking game that they're doing to me right now. After I called my doctor messaged back pretty quickly. And they hung up. I had to call them and make sure you call me. What's it about? And they told me that I needed to call my insurer. I called my insurer. And the first thing that me and my insurer agreed upon was that it was my doctor's obligation to find the correct doctor that accepted. My doctor knows I have Medicare and Medicaid. It's really her obligation to have found the right doctor in the first place. And it's also, we were talking in regards to this past year, how they haven't really been billed. All these hospitals and medical facilities around here were not billing. It's their job, not mine. They were sending all the bills to me, expecting a one-armed, righty hand, disabled man to do their work, to separate out what is paid by Medicare and what's paid by Medicaid. And I just kept giving them Bruno's office address and told Bruno, anything coming in my name, unless it looks like a check, maybe just throw it in a circular file, trash it. I just did it that's what he's there for. He's still, I'm sorry, I'm starting to sound like my nephew with that real high pitch. My poor nephew, he's probably a mess now. He's actually only about, I got a couple of nephews that are only about 10 years younger than me. I got a niece that's only about 5 years younger than me. Something like that, 5 or 6. Uh, to the best of my knowledge, all the medical expenses this past year have been addressed to me, and they haven't. It's their obligation to correctly code it and bill it. You can't just turn it over to me, motherfucker. Just because you had me while I was incompetent to sign a paper saying that I will pay whatever they don't pay doesn't mean I have to do anything. Like I said in a previous deal, is that when you're ill, you're not legally competent. Why do you think wills and testaments start off with the phrase being sound of mind and body? You're making a declaration, you're asserting that you're legally competent to make this last will and testament. Say a few words. And yet they get away with it all the time. It's bullshit. It's the primary point of this and other videos related to my health is America sucks, and healthcare, whether you're left or right, healthcare reform is absolutely, it's got to happen. Otherwise, especially this class division, class warfare shit, class envy shit is going to continue, and it's going to get worse, and it's going to get, if you thought Antifa was bad, it's going to get really bad in the near future. I don't really have much patience. And in talking to the Medicaid subcontractor, they tell me that I have to talk to Medicare now, and I'm waiting for that. Actually, that conversation has to be forwarded to another department that will. It's actually a huge corporation. The ensure the Medicaid subcontractor I'm dealing with is, it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation. And then they're going to contact me with how to get, because Medicare is a government program, but like everything else, including Social Security, it's really run by subcontractors. So I wasted a lot of time trying to explain that, and that's what she was doing. She was looking to see if there's anything in their menu that would bring up, orthopedic surgeons within their system. And I really just don't. The fact that they give me two different types of insurance just shows you how fucked up this government is. It's kind of literally schizo. Why isn't it the same? Just, same insurance, health insurance for everybody. Single payer. I don't really think that health insurance companies have any right to exist in more than one entity. And that entity's ability to profit off of your health should be limited to fucking goose egg, zero. I think that I told you before, I agree with the German judge in a finding over, it was actually a hashish case. It was about getting high, her right to get high. And in his findings published in 1990, he stated that it was his legal opinion that because they were trying to put her in prison for smuggling 6 grams of hashish back from, Holland, the Netherlands. And he ruled that it's a human being's right to get high, that humans have a right to have a roof over their head, that human beings have a right to medical care as best as society can provide, and to food and clothing. Basic human rights. Ike Eisenhower said that nobody needs $1 billion. He's the one who warned us about the military industrial complex. One of the best men in history. The guy who led D-Day. The guy who didn't want to lead D-Day, but Churchill pretty much forced him to. Because the rest of them, Patton and Montgomery, they were a couple of prancing, ponies. They're all, a little too theatrical. And he was a smart man. You people that actually think that you're going to have a society without medical care for everybody, Social Security for everybody, no farm aid, no. You're the lunatic fringe that Ike Eisenhower was talking about. You actually have no compassion for your fellow man. And yet, Sunday morning, you'll be front row in your church. And right in front of the shrine you built to Trump. Just remember the words of Ike Eisenhower. Nobody needs $1 billion. We got Zuckerberg with $1 trillion. We got Bezos with $1 trillion. We got all these trillionaires, and what are they doing? Well, mostly escaping taxes by doing what some want, which is to continue to create low-level, low-paying jobs. So that's pretty much it, is that I'm too tired today, probably. Plus, they actually have to contact me. They have to text me first to how to go on the contact. But I don't think it's going to rain, and I'm waiting for all them goddamn fucking hypochondriacs to get the fuck out of that clinic so I can sleep, because I know in the morning, and I'm sorry, but that N-word bitch is, I'm not going to, if I have to get up a little earlier to escape her, but I'm not going to tolerate her fucking talking shit to me again when nobody else in there does it. She does it because she is a misandrist. And she's probably a racist. She has no respect for a medically vulnerable, and that's my medical system. My medical care system is Scott and White. They have an obligation to me that has not been met now for 11 months. I admit that I've been, unfortunately, under the control of others for about the first 4 months, but it's been their job for the last 7 months. And they're not doing a good job of it. But they are pandering to every motherfucker that's got a purse full of gold. Oh, they'll sit and listen to you talk all day long and hook you up with any kind of test because you're fucking healthy. You cost them almost nothing and you're pure profit. Milking the hypochondriacs. 20 minutes, I'm fucking out. So that's my status. I gotta destroy my voice talking to somebody and trying to find somebody that will accept somebody who's got a bizarre combination of Medicaid and Medicare. And to my knowledge, Medicare does not pay more than Medicaid. I don't really get it at all.